Okay, everybody in the world knows who Dracula is. And if you say you don't know who Dracula is, you are either lying or you've been living under a rock for over 100 years, or you've been sleeping in a coffin. Catch up, you old vampire. There's a lot of stuff you need to know. But, Dracula isn't the first ever vampire in literature. In 1872, we got Carmilla. Uh, She is iconic in LGBT circles, mostly lesbian circles, because she is characterized as the first lesbian vampire. And she's a very iconic character. She's an LGBT icon. She's known by hardcore horror fans, and she has appeared a couple of times, a handful of times actually. But in 1819, there was the poem The Vampire, spelled Vampyre. Yeah, the old spelling of vampire. You see, this poem was made on the same night with the same ghost stories that inspired Frankenstein. That's right. This character, who I'm about to bring up, was made the same night Frankenstein was. This character's name is Lord Ruthven, based on Lord Byron. He is the first ever vampire in literature. There have been multiple vampires and vampire types throughout folklore for years. Even Louisiana has a vampire folklore, which is weird, but also kind of cool. Of course, we have the traditional English vampire, which is based on the Abertac from Irish folklore, and then there's the Chinese hopping vampires. Go look them up, they're cool, but also really funny. And of course, now we have the modern vampire, which is more or less a combination of pretty much everything that came before. Lord Ruthven was the first in literature, though. He was the first vampire to appear in literature. He predates Dracula over 80 years, and he predates Carmilla for over 50 years. So you're probably wondering, why have I never heard of him until now? Because he's barely used. Now, he's name-dropped here and there. In fact, in the 2020 Dracula miniseries on Netflix and the BBC, a character called Tom Ruthven makes an appearance. But he's more or less a prototype Renfield. A proto-Renfield. And he's not really used much. And in the show Penny Dreadful, Lord Ruthven is name-dropped, but never appears. If the sequel series did any good, he probably would have made a full-fledged appearance, but unfortunately he hasn't. He's referenced here and there in novels, especially having bars named after him, but he's never reappeared in person. Why? He's not as iconic as Dracula. Even though he was the first, he's not as famous. Make him famous!